welcome to SnatchTalk. Oh, hello there, I'm the Velvet Snatch. Week 4 of Drag Idol 2022 was Disney Week, a long-running staple of the competition where contestants have to put together a performance with a Disney theme. There's more to it than that though. Contestants have to book their movie or movies in first with Chris Howe to make sure that there's no duplicates, and this has caused some tears in the past. However, now that Disney pretty much own everything on the planet, there's a little less chance of that happening. Disney Week is a tough one though, as if you go too obvious you'll get called out, and if you go too obscure then the judges might not get it. And if you're just going to do a stand and sing, then you better make sure you're surrounded by half-naked pups. Not that I'd know anything about that. As usual, the proceedings took place at Switch Bar in Newcastle, lorded over by our regular judges Ophelia Balls, Penny T, Raunchy Rusty, and of course the evil queen herself, Miss Rory, who was kind enough to give a shout out to the show.
And I forget to say this every week, the Velvet Snatch, who was in a couple of years ago. Okay, she didn't win, shush please. A wonderful SnatchTalk on YouTube every week, and I find it really useful because I can watch back through what's going on, and I watch it and then I watch back through the show and I don't know what's going on with, like, they're all so bloody good, that's the problem.
Sadly, before we got further, Ophelia had some unfortunate news. Dildo had dropped out of the competition and would not be continuing to week 4. Being over the halfway point of the competition now, I had the chance to speak to last year's winner, Friday Sapphic. Friday Sapphic, this bitch. Right, I'm here with reigning queen Frida Sapphic. How are you doing, my dear?
Sapphic. That's how you always call me.
I always call, I went, it's Frida Sapphic.
It's not that glamorous. It's not that glamorous. I'm fantastic, thank you. How about you?
I'm great. How are you feeling about the competition so far?
It's very exciting. Like, there's a lot of really nice mixture of people. Like, I had seen kind of everyone perform before at Bobby's and like different places like that. So everyone's performed before, and everyone's kind of worked on on the scene before. So it kind of brings a new thing into Drag Idol. Like, there's no shit ones. Am I not saying shit? Yeah, there's no shit ones this year. Like, you know how previous years there's always like some person in a wig just gets up and dances for like 3 weeks and then they get eliminated. Like, this week there's no, everyone's good. So it's really frustrating.
Well, especially when people need to go home. It's this idea of going, like last week I was like, I don't want anyone to go home, and yet someone has to.
Yeah, we were sat there, I was sat there in my house just before I came here, and I was like, so who does everyone think's going home? And we all just sat there like countdown, the countdown music starts playing, we're just like, who knows? I don't even know who's going to win. And everyone just keeps surprising me every week, which is really, really fun, really cool. I'm excited. Very, very excited.
So do you have anything that you might want to promote, such as a merch line?
I'm so glad you asked, Velvet. Thank you very much for asking. Yes, I've got a merch line at dragcastle.store. It's with everyone from Dragcastle, and we're also getting artists that aren't part of Dragcastle as well, coming up soon. So yeah, it's me, Cara, Dick, Gladys, Anna. I'm going to forget someone. Ivy.
Yeah, I think Ivy's an important one there.
Yeah. Loads of people. Sorry if I've forgotten you. There's loads of people on that merch line, including me, dragcastle.store, and there's just some camp designs, and it's really cool. Yeah. Affordably priced as well.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you so much for speaking to me, Frida. Thank you so much for speaking to me, Frida.
Sappy.
Now, on to the performances. First up, we had Mercury.co.uk with a Finding Nemo performance. It was an interesting number, as it was a good mix of weird...
Excuse me, ma'am. Have you seen my son? He's about this tall, clearly gay, but we haven't had the talk.
Eclectic...
Fuck! I've been washing dishes in my sleep again! We're fucking late for school!
And it actually tried to follow the main plot points of the film. Overall, however, it was pretty confusing, with a few too many ideas thrown in, but I'm beginning to realise that this is just Mercury's style. The judges were less kind, however, Rusty saying that the outfit looked like it was from a charity shop and that the performance was too overthought. Rory agreed, pointing out that Mercury looked bored, but praising how well the track had been edited. Titania Gemini came after, saved from the clutches of elimination last week. Would a stint as the evil queen from Snow White see her through to the next round? Well, she had a potion to brew to do just that, with some choice ingredients, of course.
A strand of Chris Howell's hair. Some shit out of Jack Plastiq's wardrobe. Penny T's choreography skills.
Did it work? Well, you'll just have to wait and find out. The judges enjoyed it, with Rusty praising the easy-to-follow songs and level of sass on one hand, and criticising the store-bought costume on the other. Rory enjoyed the simplicity and cheeky edge, while Penny said it was put together brilliantly, but the lip-sync was off at times. Next we had Stacey Rhect, who had been coming across as nicely confident in their performance tonight, and it was incredible, well, the Incredibles, starting out as the amazing Elastigirl.
Settle down, are you kidding? I'm at the top of my game. I'm right up there with the big dogs. Girls, come on. Leave the saving the world to the men? I don't think so. I don't think so.
As usual, she had some tricks up her sleeves, literally. But the highlight came with an unexpected quick change into fan favourite Edna mode, owning the stage and critiquing the judges.
My God, you've gotten fat.
It was an incredible performance and earned standing ovations from both Rory and Penny. Rusty and Penny agreed it was her best performance so far and praised Stacey's unique blend of craziness. Rory called it absolute fucking artistry and mentioned that there's absolutely nothing about her not to love. Mea T Cleaver was back following their close shave the week before with a particularly sinister routine, slinking onto stage as... wait, what are you again?
Snag. Snag. What about nigga snag?
Oh, well, we got to speak to Mea before she went on to ask how she was feeling. I'm here with Mea T Cleaver. Wow, you look so different.
No, just a slight change in persona this week.
Embracing your inner serpent.
That's it. I mean, a few people here have been called a snake, but I like to think I'm one of the nice ones.
Well, it's a good way to change it up on Disney Week. So, can you tell us a bit about the routine you're going to do?
So it's going to be the Jungle Book, one of my favourites growing up when I was a wee bairn. And as you can see, I'm naturally playing Blue the Bear. No, Car. Something about him really spoke to me as a child. He terrified me, but there was also like a weird beauty in him. And I think that's what I tend to channel into my drag, is finding the darkness in something, but also the beauty.
Isn't it strange though that, like, you know, obviously Disney villains were made like to be like a bit camp and a bit kind of like, you know, like dark, and yet they make them more relatable.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. One thing that I did notice last night, and me and my friend were discussing, is how all of the Disney villains tend to be British, and I'm like, do the Americans just think that we are like all evil?
Well, you know how it was in Bond films, where the Russians were always the villains and stuff, or the Germans and stuff.
The Brits. Yeah. I suppose these days we are villainous, aren't we?
Well, I think we're just seen as incompetent. Thank you, Boris.
Thanks, Boris.
So, how do you feel about last week? Now, that was not your best week.
No, it definitely was not my strong week. I can openly admit that. I'm hoping.
I mean, I was trying to be nice on the episode, and I still had to turn around and be like...
You were being honest. I appreciate the honesty. It was a shitstorm. Not to take Plop's namesake, but yeah, it was a shitstorm.
Well, what happened with it? Was it like that you didn't have enough time to prepare, or was it like too many ideas? Or?
No, I think me and Titania, who is my partner, we put so much preparation into it. I think it was just a case of over-egging the pudding. And that was something that the judges critiqued us on, was that our delivery seemed too forced, like it had been over-rehearsed. So I guess it was a case of over-rehearsing.
That's it. I mean, what is it in? Because when I got voted off, when I got to the semi-finals in 2019, I think it was like they basically said, you have planned this too much. You sound robotic. It's not like as fluid as it should be. I think it's a big deal for Idol.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you need to try and find a happy medium between preparing enough that you're not being lazy, but not over-preparing it to the point that it seems forced and disingenuous.
No, thank you so much for speaking to me, Mea.
It's been a pleasure. A big fan, love SnatchTalk. Listen to be on it.
It's so weird, people watching
fake?
this.
I meant that was genuine.
No, what side of fake was Delonco last week being like, I watch it every week, and I'm just like, you don't know what it is, you know?
What was it? She called it a video cast.
She was like, oh, is it video now? And I'm like, well, you've been watching, you know? Mea's performance as Car the Snake from Jungle Book was an enticing watch. A great mix of comedy, dance, exposition, and at times, genuinely hypnotic. Last week's performance was good. Mea should have won. Oh, it was masterfully done, with Rory describing the stand and slither routine as fucking incredible, praising her for thinking outside the box. Rusty loved how she managed to seduce the audience, describing the performance as scary as fuck but amazing. Penny was also full of praise, loving the mannerisms and tricks, and said it was her best number so far, and proved that they hadn't made the wrong decision by keeping her in the competition. Skankii KandL was up next, with a spin on the Cinderella story. Like with most Northerners, Skankii was tired of working hard for fuck all reward, hoping that a visit from a fairy godmother might put things right. Things seemed to be looking up, but Skankii. Pastels?
Not for me, sadly not for me.
In a twist to the narrative, Skankii rejected the godmother's dress, embracing her inner slut and giving us a raunchy conclusion to the performance.
Because I own my body.
Looking fantastic, by the way. But what did the judges think? Well, Rusty described Skankii as Kerry Katona if she was a Victoria's Secret model. I don't know whether that's a compliment or not really, but she loved the editing and story, pointing out that this candle's not gonna burn out. Rory was equally positive, describing Skankii as a constant joy with a lovely energy, even if she looked like an absolute hoe. Penny loved the reveal, but thought it could have been bigger, saying she didn't enjoy it quite as much as last week. We were on to the Lion King next, with drag king Veggie Stripper serving us a medley of tracks from the movies, and even going so far as to anoint a member of the audience. I've never seen a man smile that much after getting Simba'd in public. Now don't tell me I never teach you anything. It was a fun performance.
I'm pushing up, I'm looking down, I'm working out my...
However, it took a serious tangent to discuss animal conservation and poaching across Africa.
We are already beginning to see significant redundancies, job losses across the whole of the tourism and conservation sector, right across Africa.
And I don't know about you, but I certainly didn't have cardboard animals on my Drag Idol bingo card. Penny really enjoyed the number, thanking Veggie for opening her eyes to the state of poaching in Africa, with Rory pointing out that if Penny ever went to Africa, she'd probably be hunted to extinction too. Rory said she enjoyed the routine, however, she had hoped that there'd be more songs from the stage show and not just the Lion King movie, but mentioning that if Veggie got to the final at Boulevard, he could maybe expand upon the routine. Speaking of the final, it's getting closer, with this being the last week before the semi-finals. Whoever wins Drag Idol 2022 will receive a host of wonderful prizes, including £300 in cash, a place on the UK Pride main stage, and also their own range of merchandise from Fabrique Apparel. I got to speak to former Idol contestant and Drag Idol all-star Plastiq about the competition so far and their new endeavour. I'm here with the wonderful Plastiq, one of the amazing Drag Idol all-stars. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm having a wonderful time. It's been an amazing, what week are we on now, 12? 12 weeks of Drag Idol.
Feels like that.
Yeah, it's getting there. But yeah, I'm doing great, really well. How are you?
I'm brilliant about it. I don't want anyone to go. It's got to the point in the competition where I don't have anyone I dislike. I would be a crap judge because I wouldn't ever send anyone home. So
there's a few. I'll not agree with you. There's some. I have my final four in my head now. I won't share it, but I have my final four in my head now. And if they keep going the way they've been going, it's going to be the final four.
Well, I'm not going to mention my final four because every year I mention it and then they go home. So I mentioned it on the podcast last year and then they all left the competition halfway through or didn't make it to the final. And so this week I mentioned Respectrum. I was like, I really hope they get to the final.
That went really well last week.
So I don't want anyone to win.
Okay, yeah. If that's the case, I really want you to win. And now you can go home. I'll book you a taxi.
So you've got a wonderful merch line and you're providing one of the prizes for Idol this year. Tell me about that.
Yes, so I'm launching a merch company that probably by the time this video comes out, it'll be launching.
If I edit it as slowly as last week, bloody hell.
Yeah, so when it comes out in 3 weeks, the merch line will be here. But yeah, so I wanted to create a company to support local drag in a way that anyone who wanted merch could come to me and say, yeah, I'd like merch. We'll design it in-house, we make it, we produce it. They don't have to have loads of t-shirts sat in their living room. We do all the work, it's all posted, and they just sit and enjoy the profits. And I thought for the winner of what is probably the biggest drag competition in the UK now, what more do they need than a few t-shirts and a few hoodies? That's what I think.
No, I think that's great, and I think it's great to add an extra thing to the prizes, you know. But no, thank you so much for speaking to me, Plastiq.
Have a good evening. Enjoy Drag Idol.
Cool. See you later.
See you soon.
Laila Saggitaria was up next with a wonderful new spin on an old theme, strutting out onto the stage as Spider-Man.
Spider-Woman.
Oh, sorry. My mistake. Spider-Woman. Having gotten her point across, it was soon time for Laila to break out the big guns. I must admit, while I was fully expecting to get webbed in the face on a night out in Newcastle, I didn't mean quite like this. It was a great performance and demonstrated that it's not just women that need better representation. It's, pigs too.
You pig. Run away. No, we can't. He's a pig.
The judges loved it, Rory stating that she was quite overcome by the performance, pointing out that she couldn't come up with numbers like that, and saying that it was an absolutely brilliant message for kids that you can be anything you want. Ophelia and Rusty were taken in by Laila's confidence, telling her that she looked stunning, and the routine gained Rusty's performance of the night. Penny was equally wowed, expanding on Rusty's previous coinage with Laila Laila Week 4 Slayer. While we're on the subject of Laila Saggitaria, I'd just like to take a moment to mention a fund that's been set up for her. Laila has now been on the waiting list for hormone replacement since 2018, and I hope you'll agree that she deserves the opportunity to live as who she really is. If you've enjoyed watching Laila Saggitaria throughout the competition and want to support her fund with whatever you can give, please go to the link in the description below. You can also go to thevelvetsnatch.com/Laila, and that will forward you on to the GoFundMe. So far, many of us have donated, including myself, with Miss Rory going so far as to throw £100 in. Bloody hell.
You're welcome.
After Laila, it was time for Bonnie and Bend Over to hit the stage, but something was a bit freaky.
This is mine.
then.
What have we done?
Well, it wasn't me.
The idea behind the number was really clever, based upon the Disney movie Freaky Friday, and saw both Bonnie and Ben swapping their respectively portrayed genders and struggling through one of their now famous dance routines.
That's not working, is it?
Is it not?
Not really. You look like that.
You sound like this. I know.
Let's swap parts.
You what?
Swap parts.
Oh, I don't think I
Of
can.
course you can, just do it.
That seemed to do the trick.
Now that's more bloody like it.
Penny and Rory enjoyed it, loving the story and saying that they looked brilliant in each other's outfits, but pointing out that it wasn't as strong as they'd come to expect from the pair. Everyone gets a dip week and it looked like this was theirs. Rusty, on the other hand, totally disagreed. She loved the routine and was thoroughly entertained, especially the use of the Tina Turner classic, Proud Mary. Finally, our last performer of the night was Lavender Love. She's come a long way in the competition since week 1, earning not 1 but 2 performances of the week. I managed to speak to her before she went on to ask what she had planned for Disney Week. Right, I'm here with the sensational Lavender Love. Now, considering that, you nearly didn't get through week 1, and then you've smashed it in the last 2 weeks, how does that make you feel? Are the expectations high?
It makes me really nervous because, I thought I was going home week 1 when I spoke to you. And then I was like, right, I'm going to go home week 2, which is fine with me. And then they were like, you're best in show. And I was like, right, what do I do next? And then obviously last week happened and now we're here. So I do feel a bit of pressure because I'm after Bonnie and Ben again. So fucking third time in a row, Chris Howe.
Then again, you were after them last week and you still got best in show.
Literally, this is the 3rd week in a row I've been after Bonnie and Ben, and I feel like that's a lot of pressure because they are just at another level of...
Is it a fix? Is it? Chris, is it a fix?
I'm being set up to go home. If you see this, please comment justice for Lavender if I go home, please.
Justice for Lavender.
#robbed.
Dare I ask what number you're doing today?
I'm doing Beauty and the Beast. If you I think it's very obvious, but no, of course. I'm doing Bambi, obviously. We're going with some...
I think it's great, though. It's looking around the room, they're very different routines. Nobody's, stepping on anyone's toes.
Yeah, it's a very strong group of films this year. Everyone's kind of gone a different direction, And with Disney owning so much more content, everyone's gone out there. We've got Spider-Man, we've got, The Incredibles, which I think haven't been done before. So I think, again, it's going to be such a tough week.
No, thank you so much for speaking to me, Lavender.
Well, thank you for interviewing me.
Things were pretty crazy from the get-go, with the performance giving us a few firsts for the competition this year, including a live animal birth. Isn't nature wonderful? Now, considering that Bambi came out back when Ophelia had all her own teeth, I couldn't quite remember what happened next. Oh yeah. Sadly, that brought a rather somber end to the performance. Sadly, that brought a rather somber end to the performance. Oh, for fuck's sake. Hello, is that Latrine Lurker?
How you doing, Velvet baby? It's the train.
Yes, I've got a job for you.
Hold my beer, Velvet. It's hunting season. Looks like the venison's back on, Velvet. How the hell did you get my number anyway?
Well, that was quite a performance, and as Rory went on to point out, Lavender really left her mark on the stage. I caught up with Lavender to, well... So, that went well.
I just had my period.
The judges were understandably shook, with Penny being rendered speechless initially, going on to describe Lavender as tapped and her number as sick, morbid and twisted, and she couldn't wait to see Lavender bleed on the Boulevard stage. She also commented on Lavender's growth through the competition, which Rusty agreed with, calling the performance the Texas Bambi Massacre, and stating, and I quote, "You are the one that's come on the most." Well, I don't know about that, Rusty, but it explains the good complexion. Rory had only praise for the number, calling Lavender the shock hero of the competition, who sees a line and crosses it. And with that, the performances were done. So, what were my highlights? Well, Stacey Rhect as Elastigirl and Edna Mode, Laila Saggitaria as Spider-Woman, and Mea T's sultry Serpentine Jungle Book performance stand out as my highlights of the night. Really well thought out and entertaining performances. But my performance of the night? Well, being a sick bitch myself, it has to go to Lavender Love. That Bambi number was incredible and brutal. It expanded on the vein of comedy in her Diana routine by playing with the audience's expectations and making the punchline we were waiting for just so much funnier. I'm so glad that Lavender didn't go home in week 1. She is an absolute star. We're into spoiler territory now though, so if you don't want to know who wins and who goes home, then please like, share, comment and subscribe and then switch off. If, however, you're a brave explorer that dares to prod the plump exposed belly of the piglet we call life, here's the tea. Performance of the week went to Stacey Rhect, and if it hadn't, then I probably would have chosen it as my performance of the week. It was fantastic, with the judges wowed by the lip sync, the editing, the costume change, and as usual for Stacey, all the little details that go into such a polished performance. I mean, she even managed to slap some sense into Plastiq. But what were the worst numbers of the night? After the other contestants had left the stage, it was Bonnie and Ben, Mercury.co.uk and Veggie Stripper facing the chop. After an almost endless moment, Bonnie and Ben were saved and sadly left Veggie and Mercury to leave the competition. It was a real shame to lose two brilliant performers, but before they could leave the stage, the other contestants ran back on to give the two a collective group hug, and I got to speak to the pair after the show to see how they were feeling. Okay, I'm here with sadly the two contestants that we've lost this week, Veggie Stripper and Mercury. Veggie, how do you feel about the elimination?
Do you know what? I don't feel too bad. I'm proud of what I've done, so I'm happy with what I've done.
And Mercury?
I'm exactly the same. I'm very proud of what I've done. I've done things that I never thought I'd be able to do in drag. So and I saw it coming from the second that it happened, to be fair. It was very obvious to me.
I mean...
just to reiterate, I think Veggie was robbed. Hashtag Veggie was robbed. I would have said Pia was robbed there by accident, but...
So are we going to get that going? Veggie was robbed?
Yes.
I didn't say it first, but...
yeah. In silent agreement. There we go. But Mercury, what they said about, you maybe overthinking your numbers too much, that's the problem that you had in week 1. Like, it's that difficult thing that is... It's, you overthink things, but maybe that's your style, and you're keeping true to your own style.
I mean, I'm a massive overthinker. I've always been a massive overthinker. Even with any drag performance I do, it's very chaotic, but sometimes I come out with something that's a bit more nuanced, I guess. But I'm not going to stop being chaotic, and I will overthink till I die, because it's called anxiety, dear. Mental illness.
That's it, and it's a bitch. So Veggie, what's next for you?
I'm still going to be doing open drag nights. I'm still going to be doing whenever I get booked for, just chilling, just living my life. Yeah.
That's amazing. So book these two bitches.
Can I just say, I am very proud of you because you are a woman who does drag, and not only that, you're a woman of colour who does drag, and you are fucking amazing.
Thank you.
I can swear, can't I? Sorry if I can't swear. But oh my god, you are like amazing. Even when we used to watch your open drag, you were amazing.
Thank you.
And I am like, I'm so proud you're like part of the scene. Like, oh
I'm
my
proud
god.
of you too. You should be so proud of yourself. Like, regardless of what everyone has to say, you went on stage and you fucking owned it. So.
Well, I mean, I think I did abysmal, but I can admit I did abysmal, dear. But like,
you were true to yourself, and it was incredibly clever as a number. Like the amount of references in it, the amount of songs in it, it's the sort of thing. It was a Mercury number.
Yeah, I think I'd had an entire plan of how it was meant to go out, but circumstances changed that. But we move, as the kids say. And can I also say to anybody watching, listening, whatever, please donate to Laila Saggitaria's HRT fundraiser on GoFundMe. You can find it on our Facebook page. We've all shared it on Instagram and everywhere because she deserves to be the woman that she already is, but to feel comfortable in who she is, and she deserves it. She's amazing.
She deserves to live her authentic life.
Exactly.
So.
No. Mercury, Veggie, thank you so much for speaking to me.
Thank you.
And you look beautiful as always.
After the two had left, Ophelia called all the contestants back to the stage so she could announce the theme for the semi-final. And it was, of course, Prop Week, where each contestant is randomly assigned a prop that they have to build a routine around. And then, immediately following their performance, they have to do a 3-minute live section using a mic. So, what props did our semi-finalists get assigned? Well, for Skankii KandL, she got a top hat. For Stacey Rhect, it was a bride-to-be tiara. For Titania Gemini, it was a spade. For Bonnie and Ben, it was a pizza, which was actually still in the box. I don't know if that's going to survive till next week, darlings. For Mea T Cleaver, it was a bike. An actual fucking bike. I still don't know if that's the strangest prop we've had so far. I mean, in 2020, Mixie got a giant cow. Laila Saggitaria was given a rainbow. Let's see what she does with that. And Lavender Love got a walker. After everything was said and done, I got to speak to the wonderful Judge Rusty to hear her thoughts on the competition. Well, I'm here with the raunchy Rusty.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm supposed to be asking you that. Is this Freaky Friday, like Bonnie and Ben?
Yeah, it's definitely a Freaky Sunday. Sexy Sunday. Yeah. Arr.
So, how did you think the competition went tonight? Was that a tough decision?
It was actually. It's as the weeks have progressed, the contestants are getting better and better every week, and every week when we have to let two people go, it's so tough because we've grown to love these contestants, and sometimes it's unfair because they've been a strong contender and then just one performance can put a spoke in the works and they're unsafe, and it's just sad when that happens because it's like tonight with our Veggie, absolutely, fantastic, and we wanted to see probably more of what we saw in week one with the African dancing, but this week it wasn't as good as normal, sadly, and everybody else was better this week, unfortunately. And
wait, it's like, how would anyone have expected Bonnie and Ben, after the performances they've given so far, to be in the bottom this week?
I don't think they were actually in the bottom as such. I think what he did was, our Ophelia did that to create a little bit of drama, but I don't think that they were one of the poorer acts. Personally, I mean, the other judges thought that it was their weakest week, but I thought they were absolutely fabulous. Like I said earlier on, what happens is that they've got to find that happy medium. They thought they've probably peaked too early, and what's happened is, they've come back thinking that the performance was strong. I mean, what I saw and what the other judges saw were two totally different things. I mean, I thought it was absolutely amazing. I thought it was as strong as the performances in previous weeks. Personally, knowing how well Proud Mary goes down with that sort of audience, you know, I thought they were onto a winner.
But I think that's the thing about having a variety of judges, because you all look for different things, like how Penny always looks for choreography, you know.
Me, I look for a little bit of diversity, and you know me, I'm old style Hollywood glamour. I love musical theatre the same as our Penny does, so I like to see a little bit of musical theatre and maybe something that's off Broadway that nobody's heard of, but they can sort of make it their own.
So you're one of the returning judges to Drag Idol, because you went off for a couple of years. Like, how's it like being back?
I'm totally loving it. I didn't realise how much I missed it actually until I've actually come back. It's lovely to be back, and it's nice to be back on the Newcastle gay scene. Obviously, you know, over the past couple of years I've been away, working other places. I mean, I've been covering Rory and Boulevard over Christmas, but as far as DJing on the gay scene goes, I've not been around for a couple of years. I just wanted to take a little bit of a break, really, and do something a little bit more different. I wanted to concentrate on my shows rather than DJing, because there's a lot of up-and-coming queens, and they're like, oh, she's a one-trick pony. They've never actually seen me perform, so it's nice to actually get out there and do a couple of performances, as well as, you know, just being stood there on a DJ box playing songs all night, really.
Yeah. I know exactly how you feel. Yeah. So who's your favourite to win from what we've seen so far?
Oh, that's a tough question because there are so many good ones. Do you know, I quite like... you've put me on the spot now and I can't think of her name. Who was the last one on tonight?
Lavender Love.
Lavender Love. She's just come in and sort of, you know, her diversity, the way that she's pushing buttons and that she's doing things that are making people shocked. You know, I think that's what I love about her, because in the first week, she stood there and she just mimed to a song. And now she's coming back with all this really good stuff that's like just shocking people, and it's the shock factor. And I think for me, she's probably coming up to want to be one of the front runners, definitely. And sorry, Lavender, I totally forgot your name. I'm terrible with names.
Isn't it scary though? Like, you know, everyone brings their A game to week one and then sort of goes downhill afterwards. And then she's just like, oh, here's an okay number for week one.
She's reversed it, totally. And it's, but you're playing a dangerous game with that, because she could quite easily been eliminated in week one because she was one of the poorer acts. But I'm so glad that we saved her and gave her another chance, because, I mean, look at her today. But saying that, though, we could say that about any of the contestants that have been, you know, that have lost out. They could have had so much more in them, but we'll never know. It's just the way the cookie crumbles, and it's the way that the coin flips on the night.
Thank you so much for speaking to me, Rusty.
Welcome. Always a pleasure to see you.
And I believe that's everything. Thank you so much for watching this episode of SnatchTalk. I've been the Velvet Snatch. Goodbye.